You know what I mean? Like, this is like a great time to talk about historically how white women have used their tears as a weapon of violence, because that's what they wanted to happen. They instigated violence, and then they defended said violence and tried to instigate more violence with their tears. I'd rather keep it real with ya. Hey everybody, it's me, Minu, back with another video. Gonna do some hair today, and then I'm also going to talk about some stuff that happened this week. So I have some other videos that I have to get around to editing, and they're gonna be big videos, so there's gonna have to be a lot of editing and a lot of chopping. And I really just want to have a lazy day for once. So I'm gonna make a smaller video talking about just some things that have happened recently and showing you my hair. Now, I did my hair a week ago, so I took down the hair that I had before, that my actual stylist had did, and I did my own hair, trying to do something that would look good in a twist out, because I want to redo my passport with, natural hair. I better not see one of you scratch it. Sadie, you do not scratch at the door. We not messing with the carpet in this apartment. Exactly. Act right. And then just give you guys some updates on what's been going on with me, some of the stuff that I know has been going viral lately. So just gonna talk about a lot of random things. So I'm gonna put up maybe somewhere. Again, I can't do mirrors right. Okay, somewhere in this area, I will put some pictures of my hair when I just did it. So that goal is to make something look good as a twist out that I can also just wear around. That was a week ago, so now as you can see, like, things have shrunk. So it's about this long, but they shrunk. I tried to do a little part here, and on this side you can see that I have a lot more twist that I did. Some of them are flat twist, some of them are not flat twist. In the back, let me make sure I don't mess up anything. This is the back a week later. So I have no idea what the back looks like a week later, but I do know that when I first did it, I saw in the back that I actually had like a clear part going across the back, which I was very impressed with. I was very proud of myself for this shirt don't want to fit right. But I was very proud of myself for actually having a clear part in the back. It was just really like that's a huge accomplishment for me. I don't know about you guys, but for me, having a clear part in the back is very, very important. It's very, very important. I sent it to my hairstylist who's, in the old city. I'm in a new city. She really liked it. I sent it to my black hair therapist. She really liked it. I sent it to my black friends. They really liked it. So that made me feel really good about what I've been doing. And it just feels like, every time I, try to do something with the flat twist, I'm just getting better and better. And I would have never imagined that I would, Sadie, stay away from the door. I don't trust you. You're not about to start plucking up the carpet in this apartment. They charge way too much. They charge way too much for even minor damage. Anyway. So yeah, so it means a lot to me that I am able to do this because, several months ago, and you guys know if you've been following me for this long, several months ago, I was considering getting dreads. Now, there's nothing wrong with dreads or locks or whatever people want to call them. But I was considering getting that because I was terrified of having to do my own hair because I'd never gotten to do my own hair. So now being in a position where I am doing my own hair and it's, I look passable. Like I could go outside and I can go to a restaurant and I can, face people. Like I would have felt like in the past, like if I didn't have my hair done, I could not leave the house. I could not risk being seen by anybody. You know how the mom says, like, you can't just go out looking any kind of way, because anything I did would automatically embarrass my mom. And so there was a lot of internalized feelings about like my hair not being done or not looking done or me looking nappy or unkempt or unprofessional and all of those things that we've spoken about before. So being able to do a hairstyle myself that I feel comfortable leaving the house in is a huge, huge thing. So I'm going to start taking that. I'm going to start on this side because these are the shorter ones. So I'm going to start in the back like I love to do. I love to start in the back and then finish in the front. But another thing that happened recently is, I don't even know what we're calling it at this point. Are they calling it the Alabama Brawl, the Montgomery Brawl, the the boardwalk brawl. I don't know. I don't know what people are calling it. And it just kind of hit me by surprise because I was like literally just logged on to social media one day and I was getting all the memes, but I wasn't getting the video. And I was searching for the video. I couldn't find the video because I couldn't figure out what on earth this was called or what was even happening. I was getting videos of people being like, well, we all know what happened at this point, so we don't need to recap or show you in the video. And I was like, no, I need the recap though. Who are the people doing the recap? That's what I need because I'm out of touch. I'm not, I wasn't up in the middle of the night getting all these videos. I was literally just getting memes about like chairs and like it was like I just started seeing like people sharing like a chair with a doot rag, and I was like, what is this hood chair? I don't understand what's going on. But now I do understand because I had to like wait for other channels. Like, and if you're in Discord, you already knew. You already knew I was out there searching, trying to figure out what on earth was going on. And any video I found, I like shared it in a Discord. So those of you who aren't in Discord, you're missing out. But yeah, so I shared it in Discord and I finally got like some recaps of what happened. And I thought that it was very, very interesting. Now, I'm somebody who's spoken a lot on the channel about feeling disconnected from my Blackness. This is something that we're very familiar with on Minu's channel. So when I actually came through to like watch the video and people were like recapping what happened, I thought it was going to go a very different way. Like once I started like getting the videos, I thought things were going to go very differently. I saw one black man and several, how do I put this? Very, very privileged white people. You own a boat or you even had the money to rent a boat. I don't know. But I saw one black man and several privileged, possibly drunk white people. And I thought that it was going to be a different type of situation. I was very much expecting this to be another one of those videos where people all stand around and they record someone being assaulted or even not being alive anymore. You know what I mean? And I always do this. And so that's what I thought that I was about to see. I was like, okay, I need people. It has always upset me, the bystander effect. And I suffer from it too. I'm not saying that I'm any better than anybody else. Trust me. Because I'm not somebody who can jump into a crowd of people and know who I'm supposed to be swinging on. I'm just not. I'm honest about that. I gotta keep it real with you. I would not have been the one to be fighting in this situation. I would not have been able to distinguish during the chaos who was supposed to be getting hit and who wasn't. And I do wonder if there was some white people who got hit who weren't supposed to be hit just because of the fact that they were white and they were in the mix. And I don't know because I'm still waiting on details about that. But I was expecting there to be another situation where people recorded things happening, but they didn't intervene. There was a situation, I was listening to a podcast back when I drove to my new apartment, and they were talking about the situation where this woman got into an argument with a man at a fast food restaurant. I can't remember which one it was, but she got into an argument with him, and he started beating her in the fast food restaurant in front of everybody. And her son went to the car to get a gun to shoot and kill this man. And all I could think about when I was listening to this is like, what was everybody else doing? Because they're like, oh, it's so good that everybody got it on camera. And I'm like, the restaurant has its own camera. Like, you just saw this woman being assaulted and y'all just pulled your cameras out and you just watched and left it up to this young boy to have to go and get a gun to end someone's life and be traumatized forever. There's other situations that I've seen videos where a woman worker, and it's not just because it's women, face. It's anybody, but these are some examples that are just at the top of my mind right now. She was like a Popeyes worker or something, and this man was mad about some damn biscuits, and he chased this woman around the restaurant, trying to assault her, and people just recorded it. At most, you might have heard somebody be like, or whatever, but people just recorded it. They recorded her being harassed and assaulted. And it's stuff like that. Should I undo this? I'm just going to leave it like that for now. And it's stuff like that that makes me so upset because everyone talks about like what they would do, especially, I think the thing is for me, when we're talking about black people, there's a lot of black men who are very like chivalrous, right? They're like, that's a female, that's a female. And then they'll watch a woman in front of them be assaulted by another man and not do anything. And that's the thing. Like they're quick to say stuff like this, but then they don't actually. And I'm not saying that you have to jump in and fight the guy. I'm not saying that you have to jump in and beat somebody up. I'm just saying all it takes sometimes is just a little intervention, and that can de-escalate a situation. All it takes is for that person, the aggressor, to see that people aren't going to allow them to do that, and then they might back down. Now, if it's a situation where they see that you guys are getting involved and they escalate, okay, that's a different situation. But there's a lot of situations I've seen where the person has literally backed down simply because one person stood between them and the person they wanted to hurt. And I see this happen so many times in all of these videos, and everybody wants to make commentary on it and all of that, but sometimes it's like there's enough cameras. You know, there's enough cameras in the facility. There's enough cameras on people's phones that they're recording. At some point, someone can say something. And I watched the Kev on Stage video he did with Angel about it. And that got me thinking, because she spoke too about, like, because, you know, everybody already made their jokes. But she spoke too about, like, how she was afraid that she was about to watch another black man be basically lynched on camera, and that nothing bad was going to happen to the people who was hurting him. And she was so upset that she couldn't even finish the video because that's where she thought it was going to go. And I'm with her. I'm sick of seeing Black Death just blasted in my face on social media. It's traumatizing. And I can't deal with it. I have so much trauma that I don't need to add that type of imagery onto it. And this is somebody who watches horror movies. Like, I watch messed up stuff. I don't want to see people die in real life. That's not something that I'm into, that I'm intrigued by. But she was like, we've seen this situation happen so many times before and go down in a very specific way that she couldn't even imagine that something different was going to happen in this situation. And I was right there with her. If I hadn't started with the memes, like started by seeing like the chair memes and like all the videos people making fun of it, if I had just started with seeing the original video, I would have felt the same way that Angel did. Because I literally thought, like, would this be a situation where this man is being assaulted and the people on the boat are recording it, or the people who weren't on the boat were also recording it and keeping up with everything that was happening and narrating and all that stuff so that they can get their video out there and they can get views and people follow them and all that stuff. And that's like what's on their mind versus the fact that somebody's actually being harmed. And so that was something that I was concerned about. So then when I saw the follow-up of people actually getting involved, especially the other dock workers, that was something different. That was different from me. I was like, oh, you know, actually seeing people get involved. And like, I saw the first guy, and I watch these videos out of order, obviously. But you see the first guy, black guy, try to get involved and try to separate, right? He tries to de-escalate. Perfect. Love it. Mad respect for that man. That's exactly what I want to see happen in these situations. Get in there and de-escalate. Obviously, they were outnumbered, so it wasn't going that way. But then when I saw the retribution of these large groups of black people, and again, no one got shot, by the way. We're in the South. No one got shot. You know how many black people would still have a gun in their swim trunks? No one got shot. And it was just hands. It was just hands everywhere. And I was just like, you know, because I had not seen that. You know, we get so angry and we get so frustrated when we see stuff like this, but a lot of times we are not able to put that anger in the right direction. Sometimes we do the protest and everything, which is really, really good. But sometimes it takes really, really aggressive stuff. And then when you put it through the legal system, you still don't really get the true justice that you should. So in this situation, seeing this group of black people all coming together to say, you are not going to do this. We are not going to take this. Not anymore. Not today. It's not happening. And there's no other way you can spin this narrative. And I saw once the police start showing up, which they weren't doing too much at first. And, you know, I kind of respect that. Because, again, police could have shown up and just started shooting black people. But they didn't do that. They de-escalated with their hands. You know what I mean? And I was just very shocked. Like, I'm not used to seeing police act this way either. You know? And they're actually like listening to black people and taking their story and understanding the situation from them versus what they're trained to do, which is shoot the black people first, ask questions later, you know, ask for forgiveness, not permission. That's what they do. And seeing them not do that was also a shock to me because I'm like, is everybody just on the same page here? Like everybody, we all know what's going on. Like we all get the memo. Like somehow we all was just in sync on that in that moment. And seeing those white people who felt so emboldened to act the way that they act and do the things that they do, knowing, and I say knowing because I don't think it's just a thing. It's knowing based on what you've seen in the past, based on the historic trends in this country, that there would be no consequences. And that's why when the first guy started throwing punches and the second guy and the third guy and the girls, they all got in on it because they all knew that there was nothing going to happen to them. That when the police did show up, they were going to get the benefit of the doubt. And they could claim that this angry black man was accosting them while they were trying to enjoy their time on the river. You know what I mean? They already had that going in their head. They was ready for that. And you see how they were ready for that when things started to kind of de-escalate a bit and the police were trying to talk to the white people. And guess what came out? Guess what made an appearance? Guess who we knew was going to be there from the jump? The second I saw a dress and a skirt, I knew that it was going to be coming. And I knew exactly when it was going to be coming. It wasn't going to come when the black people were fighting them. No, that's not when they use it. It was going to come when the police, the people with the guns, the people who have legal rights to kill the people that they want them to kill, the white tears came out. And I knew they were coming because that's like a white woman's like biggest weapon is her tears. And to watch them go from this, all of the fighting, the aggression, the pump faking, as I like to call it, and being so tough, being so aggressive, instigating violence to, oh, the police are here. We got to cry now. Tears, Sarah, tears. Come on, tears. And all of that. It's like a history lesson all in one video. You know what I mean? Like, this is like a great time to talk about historically how white women have used their tears as a weapon of violence because that's what they wanted to happen. They instigated violence and then they defended said violence and tried to instigate more violence with their tears. And this is one of those situations where it didn't work. And that made me very, very happy because I have an issue. Y'all know you've been following me long enough. Some of these videos ain't even up no more. You've been following me long enough. You know how I feel about white tears. And white women weaponizing their tears and their sadness to get what they want. You know how I feel about it. I don't know what I'm doing with this hair right now. I'm just pulling them into the two strands and letting them be curly. My hair, it kind of looked like the like a telephone cord. Anyway, back to what I was saying. And now I'm not sure about everything that's happened after that because I'm still trying to figure out, like, you know, who's been charged, who's been arrested, and stuff like that. I know who I want to be charged and want to be arrested. But honestly, y'all don't really gotta arrest nobody, you know? I mean, maybe like the first couple guys. I think they should definitely be charged with assault. But if it's a choice between everybody who defended the dock worker and the dock worker being charged with assault, and then the white people also being charged with assault but getting lesser sentences because we know why, I'd say nobody, because I feel like justice was served. the fear, the fear in those white people when they saw a black man swimming, for one, they saw a black man swimming. That was already too much for them. They was not expecting any of that. The being hit not by the white women were not being beat up by the black men. Black women were grabbing them, because we already know how that was going to go if a white woman had got punched by a black man. Now, we're not talking about a chair guy. That's a different thing. But we all know how it would have gone if a white woman got punched by a black man. Black women came in and they handled them, throwing them in the water. The other guy, who was so terrified of what was happening, he jumped in the water himself to get away from them. Like, seeing that I feel like they put the fear of God in them, because it has been the fear of white people for the last 500 years, however long slavery's been happening on the continent. But it has been the fear of white people that black people would rise up and get revenge on them for, the stuff they did. Slavery, Jim Crow, lynching, everything. It has been the fear since the day the first white man on the area that we now call the United States owned a slave, a black man, black woman, whatever. It has been their fear. You can go back to the 1800s. You can go back to newspaper clippings from the 1800s, 1700s, whatever. They have been afraid of this for forever. And that is why they have consistently used violence as a way to keep black people in their place. And I don't have no battery. Oh my God. But they've been afraid of this forever. And that is why there has been so much violence, whether it's been overt violence in the forms of like lynchings and assaults, or it's been more covert in the form of legislation, using systemic oppression as a way to keep black people in a certain place. The constant violence that was used against people during the civil rights movement, even going further than that, how white people love to talk about how Martin Luther King would not approve of the way you people are acting right now because he believed in nonviolence. And I'm like, you can't tell me that your mama, Miss Deborah, did not want Martin Luther King to be assassinated. Did not spit on, was it Ruby Bridges? I hope it's Ruby Bridges. But the little black kids who desegregated schools, that they didn't threaten to murder them. And all they did was walk and read books. We know what you guys did. Like, it's there. It's there. But it's been a concerted effort this entire time of white people to keep black people in this state of feeling that they cannot use violence. They cannot use the same tools that were used against them. And now, while I'm not saying that black people should like lynch white people or nothing like that, I think that what happened in Montgomery was a really good example of, if we took out the gun violence aspect of it, you could see some real resistance here. Like I said, like if guns were involved in this situation, it would have been a bloodbath. It would have been a massacre. You know what I mean? It would have been over the top. It would have been too much. And it would have been used as a way to justify more policing in the city, more police violence in the city. It would have gone a whole different way. You know what I mean? But because guns were not involved, you were able to have a level of resistance that we didn't even really get to have in the civil rights movement. Because even in the civil rights movement, now remember, they don't want you to remember this, but remember, a lot of black people had to also form militia. They had to get guns and protect those peaceful marchers. You know what I mean? Bombs were still being used. Guns were still being used. Dogs were still being used. It was very, very violent on both sides. And it had to be, because you could not have guns when the people who wanted to kill you had guns. But then if you take the guns out of the equation completely, and it's just hands, well, it's a different type of argument now, isn't it? It's a different type of situation. It's a white person's worst nightmare. Because not only did they not get away with the violence that they wanted to commit, violence was committed upon them that was non-deadly. See, they would have loved if a gun was pointed at them. They would have loved if if they had heard a gunshot even in the distance, they would have loved that. Because when you have gun violence of any kind, it emboldens the other party to escalate their violence as well. And you didn't have that this time. And so that's what made this whole thing like so beautiful for me and gave me so much pride is the way it was handled. One, Black people coming together to defend each other. Black people having each other's backs. Not just recording videos, but that's a little helpful, but speaking to the police on the behalf of the dock worker and everybody else involved in the fights, getting involved themselves to either de-escalate the situation or give some kind of retribution, some kind of consequence to the way that those white people acted. You know what I mean? But seeing them come together, like, we don't see this level of togetherness anymore within the Black community. I mean, yes, like I said, like there are protests and stuff like that, but this level of like the most togetherness you see of stuff like this is in gang violence. Oh, that's my brother. Oh, we're in the same gang, so something happened to him, I have to do something to the other person. And that's Black on Black violence. But you don't see this level when it comes to Black versus white because of everything that I've said already in this video. How white people have conditioned Black people over the span of hundreds of years to shy away from the violence. Because so much violence has been used against us that we are afraid to use violence back because we know what will happen. We know what will happen to our communities. We know what happened to our families. We know, like, maybe 50 years ago, someone could serve a short prison sentence for being rowdy at a protest. But today, you could die at a protest. And the person who killed you can't walk, especially if they're white. You know what I mean? The stakes now, especially when you involve, like, everybody having guns, are so much higher. You can't just have a Martin Luther King who's going to lead the people in march and eventually, he still got shot, but he did a pretty good run. You know what I mean? No, you have somebody like that, they'll get shot immediately. You know what I mean? People in the past, it was like people were risking bodily harm and possibly death, depending on what the scenario was. People were risking being beaten. People were risking being hosed. People were risking being bitten by dogs. Now every single time you decide to go and participate in something that is going to help the people but scare white people, you are risking death immediately. Immediately. And the people who are out protesting are the people who are at the point where they've been pushed so far that that's not even a fear anymore. But there's a lot of us that still is a fear. And it's just like, that's what I'm saying. I'm just so proud. I'm so proud of seeing the people come together the way they did. Nobody stabbed anyone. Nobody shot anyone. Nobody murdered anyone. As far as I know, at this point, no one died. But those white people that attacked that man will never forget this. Now, will it fuel their victim mentality, especially for Sarah and Emily? Yes, it will fuel their victim mentality. But they won't try it again because they did not win. They did not succeed. They did not walk away scot-free. I saw some of the white people get arrested. I don't think I saw the white women get arrested. Hopefully they did as well. But this was not a situation where they jumped a Black man and then the police came and shot that Black man for them. This is not that situation. This is not a situation where they walked away from the whole situation just fine and now they're paying money and legal fees because people want to sue them. It was none of that situation. They got immediate consequences for their actions, and that's what makes people learn that you can't do this. And it's unfortunate that the prevalence of guns, especially in the South, makes it really, really hard for us to give that type of consequence and retribution. Whether it's Black versus white or like I said, it could be a Black man in the Popeyes deciding he wants to beat a woman because she didn't give him a biscuit. Whatever it is, it really dampers the fact that people, like if people really, really want to help each other, it's hard to. if you feel like the person that you're trying to stop from committing violence might have a gun in their back pocket. And I think that it does mean a lot that the people involved in this situation, where Sadie, you better stop sneaking food, I already told you, because people were wearing like swim trunks and everything, you could tell that they didn't have guns on them. Because if they did, if they had got on that boat and pulled out an AR-15 as is their constitutional rights, they would have drove out of there. They would have drove out of there and it would have been totally fine and nothing would have happened to them because everyone would have been scared of being shot and killed. I don't know if this is a message about gun control or gun reform or what. I don't know. I'm just letting you guys know that this situation happened because there wasn't guns, really. And because there wasn't a consistent threat of people dying, people were able to come out and support each other and have each other's backs like we would like to see more often in the Black community. That was the biggest thing. I know this video has gone on long enough anyway, so I won't really go into anything else. I think I got everything. I don't really go into anything else. I'm going to have to fix this. I don't know what's happening. I'm trying not to pull it apart too much and make it lose this like definition. But I really don't know. I really don't know what I'm doing. This is all new for me. And you're here with me as I also go through this new stuff for me. But yeah, I'm really, really proud of the people in Montgomery, Alabama, and how they came together to support each other. I'm proud of the man. I don't know his name, but I'm proud of the dock worker for holding his own, and defending himself as he should have. And I saw him, he did his job. He did his job well. He did not just come out guns blazing. He was very respectful. And these people continued to disrespect him. So they escalated it. He didn't. But I'm proud of him for holding his own and standing up for himself, because I know that it's really easy when you are doing your job to just run away or to be as non-confrontational as possible because you don't want to lose your job and you don't want to die, because that's a very real threat in a lot of these situations. And I'm proud of himself for just, not standing there and taking the beating. He stood up for himself. I'm proud of the guy who swam across. I think that was his coworker who swam across the river. I'm proud of the people who hopped off the boat. I'm proud of the people who was waiting to get on the boat who got involved as well. I saw a different angle of the chair. It seemed like the dude with the chair hit another dude and then eventually hit a lady. And the lady initially wasn't even a part of that main group. She just jumped in for some reason, from what I can see on the video. That was a mistake on her part. But I'm proud of everybody for getting involved and throwing the hands, because the hands needed to be thrown. But they did not do it in a way that would have been expected of them. People present Black people as being like bloodthirsty. Like, if we let the Black people get an inch, they'll take a mile. And I don't know that there was anybody who was out to try and murder anybody, except maybe the white people. I don't know. But the Black people they were just like, no, this is an old fashioned ass whooping. I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to drown you in the water. I didn't even see a lot of blood. Usually, how hard. Let me throw this point in here too, and then I'll let you go. When Black people throw hands, even from young ages, you see blood. You see blood on the side, on the concrete. You see blood on clothes. You see blood, like, you could see, even in them 480p videos, you see blood. Black people know how to fight in a way that you will bleed. They will break some things. And the fact that the most I saw of these white people was they sunburn. And I think one guy got beat through his Crocs. Y'all got off a lot easier than you could have. Just letting you know. It may have seemed that Black people went all out. They could have went harder. And these white people, these white people would never understand it. They'll never understand how close they came to getting ended in that moment. Now, they will wax and moan and play victim, and they'll make it seem like they were in fear for their lives. They'll say that, but they never mean that. They never mean it when they say that they fear for their lives. That is something they just say so that they can get away with violence. They never mean it. They have no idea how, if these were any type of other black people, if they was just a little bit, if it was a little bit hotter, you know what I mean? If the sun was shining a little bit harder that day, if the temperature was 10 degrees higher, y'all could have been ended because you didn't want to move your boat. Imagine how petty and stupid that is. That's how these people think. They think nothing's going to happen to them. They can do whatever to whoever. If those were black people who had that boat and it was a white dock worker, they would have never parked there in the first place, because they know how close they come to death every time they interact with certain groups of people. Those white people will never understand. And that's why they deserve the beating that they got. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about today, guys. I want to show you the hair, show you the definition. I'm trying. I can never see well in this camera. I always see my hair better when it's in a different camera. But, you know, see the definition, the curls. I left this up for a week, like I said, before trying to take it down. And I'm show you sides. I think I got everything. And then this side and the back. Okay, here's one that I need to take down. But yeah, I just want to show you the hair, and I wanted to talk about the video because I had some thoughts. As someone who studied history, as someone who studied racial violence very intimately, not just in the US, but also in different parts of the world like Asia, Europe, and Africa, it was a very, very interesting moment for me. And also as somebody who is black. I forget that part sometimes. But very, very proud. What they call it? A satisfying racial moment. A very proud racial moment for me and everybody else in America. Every other black person in America. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching and going through this hair journey with me. I really, really appreciate it. Like I always say, take care of yourself because you deserve it. No one's going to do it for you. Take your naps, drink your water, eat your food. And join the Discord. There's been really good engagement in the Discord lately. People are talking about whatever they feel like talking about, honestly. Sharing memes, videos, pictures of your pets, venting about whatever you're struggling with or stressing about lately. And I think it's just a really good community. I like it. Follow me on Instagram. I'm posting, pictures of gluten-free foods and cats and all that fun stuff. Support me on Coffee. Anything helps. Like I always say, you do whatever you want to do. But I just want to plug that because sometimes I forget to. And then people are like, I had no idea Discord existed. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to see you next Sunday. Love you guys. Bye.